Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Outschool Live. I really love the clap track on that video. Of course, the whole video, but the clap track particularly gets me excited. Thank you, team, for putting that together. Here at Outschool Live, we will do a deep dive into topics that will inspire you and your family on your learning journey. If you're not familiar with Outschool, we are an online learning community with over 140,000 different classes, small group classes to one-on-one tutoring sessions in almost any topic imaginable. If you don't believe me, you can feel free to comment on this thread and try to stump us to see if there's a class. Go for it, make it a game, have fun. And today we are speaking with a passionate and amazingly kind, compassionate educator who's going to talk to us about online music lessons. So please join me in welcoming Ingrid Christina to the stage. Hey there, Miss Christina. How are you doing?
Hi, Fernando. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Well, what part of the world are you
Yeah,
broadcasting today?
Virginia, East Coast, USA.
Excellent. I'm over in New Zealand. If anybody who's watching, we're definitely curious where you're watching from.
Isn't it 1 in the morning for you?
Uh, opposite direction. It's 9 a.m. for me tomorrow in the future.
Tomorrow.
Yes. So yeah, we're definitely curious who's watching and who's tuning in from where, whether you're an Outschool veteran or if you're new to Outschool. Oh, also, if you're new to Outschool, want to encourage you to check out this link here or check out outschool.com as well and enter the promo code go live 10 for $10 off of your first lesson. And hopefully it will be your first lesson with Miss Christina here as we talk about music lessons. You teach music lessons, you teach language lessons, but we're going to start off talking about music lessons. Why do you teach music lessons? And specifically, why ukulele?
Yeah. Okay. Why do I teach music lessons? Because I was using ukulele in my preschool classes. Because just strumming a little ukulele and singing the songs really relaxes the kids. So I play live ukulele in every single one of my classes. I have an intro song, a goodbye song, and in the preschool classes, we play the Wheels on the Bus and a whole bunch of other songs that are very useful for language learning, language acquisition, early literacy, believe it or not. And one of the parents actually said, like, can you teach my daughter ukulele? And I first said, like, no, I can't do that. but she was persistent, and so I said, well, let's try, and it worked out really, really well. So now I do teach ukulele, and the reason I play ukulele at all is because I used to work in the children's department of a large public library, the Washington D.C. Public Library, and they were encouraging their librarians to play ukulele during story time. And they gave a class, like a free class, like ukulele for librarians. And I took the class, and it worked. It worked, and that was not that long ago. That was in 2018. So it's an instrument you can learn quickly, and it's so joyful that it took. So yeah.
On that, oh, Ashley Stewart says hi. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us. Um, I'm I'm learning to lean into controversy here, right? To
Okay,
get up these social views. So we're gonna controversial.
let's do it.
Um, what's if I'm a skeptical parent
Yeah.
asking, yeah, but what's the purpose of ukulele? Like, what? Okay, maybe it'll teach my kid the alphabet, but like, what is the purpose of a one-on-one ukulele lesson for my kid? What life skill or how is that valuable to them as a
Yeah. Okay.
person?
Number one, ukulele is a gateway instrument. Before the library told me to play ukulele in my story time, I I told myself I was not a musician. Like, just I had tried and never been good at it. Well, I had never had a ukulele in my hands. And that day that I got the uke in my hands for the first time, okay, the uke is lightweight. It's small. It's portable. It's easy to cart around. It's easy for little hands to grab. It only has 4 strings. G, C, E, A. Guess what? I have 4 fingers on this hand. It's a lot easier than guitar, which I had failed at. Also, these strings are nylon. I don't know if you can see. They're very soft. They don't hurt as much like when you're playing guitar. So I'll tell you one more thing. Here's your first chord. That's the AM7 chord. You can play your first chord seconds after first ever having a ukulele in your hand. So it's a gateway instrument, and it's also it makes the most joyful sound. It's a mood lifter. It's an uplifter, and I could go on, but I'll stop there and make sure I'm getting into the gist of your question. But this is your gateway into music, and you can play songs on the very first day.
Yeah, and to that note, I possibly led you in this direction with the question, but I remember reaching out to a music educator saying, "Hey, I've got a 2-year-old, but all the instruments that I have, they're just like they weren't in a proper scale." So I was like, what do you suggest? And he said ukulele. It's like $35 and indestructible, and they'll hear real chords when they strum
Mhm.
it, right? So yeah, definitely on board with that.
Yeah, well, for a 2-year-old, I wouldn't get into actual like chords, but a 2-year-old could just, they can hold it. Holding the instrument is a musical skill, and just knowing which hand goes on the neck and which hand goes on the body, and they can just strum, 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 tap, strum, 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 tap. Guess what? We're already playing a song. Yeah, and then around age 5 or 6, I start my ukulele classes at age 5 or 6. We can start taking one finger and putting it on one string right here. This is your C7 chord. Now you've got 2 chords, AM7, C7. So you can get into it quickly and start really feeling the joy.
Speaking of joy, you had mentioned earlier when we were speaking about um, ukulele as a superbly easy to access coping mechanism.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, yes. I was playing ukulele at my job at the library, and then the pandemic hit, and I had a school age child, and I had to leave my job. I couldn't, my library was open and closed and open and closed, and my child's school was open and closed, and they didn't match, they didn't sync up. And so I left my job, and that's when I started doing basically a story time on Outschool, like an early literacy class. But I also just coped through the pandemic playing playing this instrument. This got me through all that misery, and I wrote over 100 songs during the pandemic. We coped through, my child also takes ukulele with me, and it got us through. I don't know where we'd be right now if I hadn't had this instrument to just calm me down and give me something productive to do with all the nervous energy that we all had at that time.
Absolutely. I believe wholeheartedly in the capability of music, and Megan's got a great question. What influence has music had on your life? And I think from from that aspect, especially of finding peace during challenging times, right? Music is
Finding
always
peace and productivity, like finding
Mm,
something productive to do with my time. I wrote 100 songs. I mean, and I use these songs in my preschool class. I was stuck at home. We all were, and I needed something to do with my time that was soothing but also productive, and it was tremendously productive. Um, so think of all the coping mechanisms out there. Some are healthy, some are not healthy. I can't think of a better coping mechanism than playing a musical instrument, and especially such a happy one as this. Um, so it's also connection. During the time, like music brings people together, right? Like think of all the things you can do with your time. Music truly brings people together at a time when we're really being pulled apart. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but go outside your home and it's just terrible and divisive out there. But I've been able to connect with music with people all over the world. People I never would have met. Anyone who plays music does that, right? Like you connect with people. It brings people together at a time when we need it. We need it.
absolutely. Yeah, you were telling me that you had some learners. I think maybe one was in Taiwan and one
Yes.
in the US, and they got to connect through your groups and just sort of ended up taking sort of like a one-on-one tutoring sessions in ukulele, except as a pair.
Yes. Yes. In my group class, I have an intermediate level group ukulele class, and right now it's just two learners. One is in Taiwan, and the other is in Virginia, and they're buddies. They are buddies, and they tell me, what they want to learn, and I do my best to provide that for them, and we're having great fun. And um, there's a chit chat in every one of my classes. I build in chit chat, and they connect. Like the other day after class, they both pulled out their rock collections, and they were both showing each other, like, my learner in Taiwan had an amethyst, and my learner in Virginia also had an amethyst. And um, it was ukulele class that enabled them to connect like that.
I think that, you know, that gives me faith that no matter what would happen in the future with the United States and maybe Taiwan on the political stage, learners who can connect on this personal stage will always second guess, you know, the political games being played versus this connection that they felt through you.
Well, I teach Mandarin too, so I actually think about this all the time. What am I doing when I'm teaching Mandarin or when I'm teaching ukulele to someone in? 'Cause I've taught other learners in Asia the ukulele, but I've taught so many people Mandarin, and there's a humanizing that happens when you are in class with someone. You have humanized that person, and hopefully, because let's face it, we see dehumanization happening, right? Like we see that happening, and I firmly believe that interpersonal connection, like the kind you can make in Outschool, is the opposite. It's the humanization that in a conflict, God forbid. But people, you hear the leaders talking about it. So, we do have to do what we can. We have to do what we can to try to stop it from happening. And humanizing people from different backgrounds, I think, is the answer.
I think you definitely touch on one of the amazing values of Outschool and the ability to, right, humanize people from all over the world that I might not necessarily see in my local neighborhood or in my city. Um, that's I love that you have that intention in your work.
It's there. Yeah, it's there. I definitely, I mean, especially having come from the pandemic, I definitely see healing as part of what's being offered.
Absolutely. I do want to remind folks that if you have any questions for Christina or any comments that you'd like to share about the conversation, please um, add it to the thread. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you are new to Outschool or you're not familiar with Outschool, saying, "Hey, what is this conversation about?" We are talking with Miss Christina, Ingrid Christina, who is an educator on the Outschool platform. Where we have over 140,000 small group classes and tutoring sessions. And if you'd like to try a class for your first time, we have a new buyer promo code just for you. That's Go Live 10, and you can ask about any classes, not just music classes. You can ask here on the thread. Miss Christina, I wanted to, we'll give people some time to think if they have questions, but it's quite possible that what we're saying is just so amazing that no questions need to be asked. How does it actually work? So, all right, I've got a 5-year-old
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
ukulele. They've never touched a ukulele. I just got it out of the bag today.
yeah.
Fortunately, it's in tune.
Good.
Let's skip that part. I watched a
Yeah.
YouTube tutorial and I got it in tune.
Great.
What's
Yeah, good. Okay, so the 5-year-old learners are going to need a little bit of assistance. From off camera. I call them like the onceler parents, where you just sometimes see their arms there. They're not on screen, but you see their arms, like uh, making sure the setting is right, and
the
then
Mutzlers? Yes.
yeah, the ones from the Lorax, right, where you only ever saw the arms coming out of the tree.
It's
These are
brilliant.
my favorite kinds of parents, the Onceler parents, because little kids, the youngest learners, ages 3 to 5, they do need help. They need to help mute and like they can't mute and unmute, and but anyway, so I'm glad you're there. Also, they spill things on themselves during class or fall off the chair. Like,
Yes, because they're wiggly.
they need you nearby. So we will always warm up. So this will be me playing like the hello song, just to show them like, oh yeah, this is what it's going to sound like one day. And then we play the first game here. Game 1 is always Simon Says with the ukulele. Simon says, touch the neck. Simon says, touch the body. Simon says, play G, C, E, A, G, C, E, A. How can we remember G, C, E, A? Get cake, eat it all. Oh, good. You remember that. But I didn't say Simon Says. Ha ha ha, I got you. So that's always our first game. And this is a good chance to review anything we covered last week. Then we're going to learn a technique. And your technique is usually like you're strumming. Like, are we going to be strumming down strokes today or up strokes? Are we going to be strumming with our thumb, our fingers? Are we going to strum with the pad for a soft sound or the nail for a harder sound? And then we'll do our chord. And like I said, these are easy, accessible chords, right? This is the C chord, one finger. This is the A minor chord, also one finger. This is the F chord, one finger. Did you hear that? Listen to that. That's just 3 classes, and your learner will be able to play that. And then we're going to watch. I don't know. Here, let me tilt this a little bit.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I am going to share my screen, and we're going to watch a short clip of a ukulele star, one of my ukulele heroes, like Jake Shimabukuro or Grace Vanderwall winning America's Got Talent with her own original ukulele song. This is like one of the favorite parts, and you don't have to worry about accessing YouTube or anything. I'll just share my screen. This gets kids so pumped up. And then we finish with a freeze dance. at first I will play the freeze dance, but after a couple lessons, they will play the freeze dance and I will dance to their playing. And they get such a kick out of that. And like I said, it's really easy. Like even with no chords, right? And of course, I'll freeze in a like crazy position. And then we finish with a coloring page. So the first, I will put this in the classroom, and hopefully parents, grown-ups can print this out. This is like a parts of the ukulele coloring sheet where you match up the neck, with the neck. And then every class I will send the chord, and hopefully the learner will color in, where they put their finger and color in the little C. And then they love just coloring this little graphic, like so colorful and fun. And this is a good way to engage them, like a different part of their brain. And then they upload it to the classroom, and there you go. So that's the class.
I have, oh man, which direction to go? Let's see. We did have some parents commenting. Thank you for the out shouts. We had someone from Eugene, Oregon listening in, and they're really appreciative of your time. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Christina.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
There are so many skills that I see learners picking up just from what you showed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go on.
Well, I'm tempted. What works better? Should I call out the skills that I think that learners are learning? Would you like to throw out the skills that you're?
Yeah, you start.
All right, I'll go as fast as I can. All right, so motor skills, right?
Absolutely.
Fine motor skills, which is always challenging, especially at a young age. And the quicker they can develop motor skills, the quicker writing happens, literacy, etc.
Okay.
There's the freeze dance, right? Prediction of pattern, and then also being able to suddenly stop an impulse, right? So like impulse control.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, okay, with the coloring, a whole new way of looking at a challenge or a problem, right? So it's not just one way that I can attack by strumming. Oh, there's a visual way that I can approach a problem and still learn a physical aspect. And that's all I got for now, but I know that there's more.
Math. You forgot math. We're going to be counting, right? Like we're going to count 1, 2, 3, shush, 1. So we're going to shush on the 4, right? So we've got counting and we've got sequencing, because when we add another chord, we're going to do like 3 on this 3 C, and then 1 A minor, and then, or do 2 A. Okay, let's do 2 C and 2 A minor, and then back to C. So this is a sequence. Patterns, pattern recognition, rhythm of language, and vocabulary.
Oh, right.
So I have one learner in Korea who learned like English. She learned the ukulele in English. Plus also my learner in Taiwan, we're actually learning songs. So she's learning the vocabulary from the songs. So yeah.
Absolutely.
You can learn a lot.
Mrs. Polly, thank you for chiming in. Mrs. Polly, super awesome member in not only as an educator, but also as part of our parent and caregiver community at Outschool. Are your classes multi-day or ongoing? It sounds like the learners can make a lot of progress.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I've taught both. Right now, I'm really excited about the one-on-one option. It's 7. It's a multi-day class of 7 sessions, because it's really thought out. Like, what are the basics that you would like to learn to get you ready to play songs and things. And then my intermediate class is ongoing. I previously taught a group class, beginner, ongoing. So that could be revived if that's desired. So the short answer is both. I teach both multi-day or ongoing, but I really want you to sign up right now for the one-on-one multi-day class, the package of the seven classes to really launch your learner.
Absolutely. I think all right, tell me what you think about this, but I mean, so for parents who, again, who maybe they see that their learner has musical talent, or they think their learner can develop musical talent, that the ukulele, like you said, is going to be an excellent gateway because
Mm-hmm.
it's small, it's easy, it's portable, really easy to get started on.
Right.
And I mean, you said 7 portions, that's 7 weeks, correct?
Yes.
In the one-on-one. So right. So within 7 weeks, a learner taking ukulele, and I can tell from your progress that you're super organized and super systematic,
Yeah.
which is super exciting. I was a musician for a number of years, a professional musician, and working with musicians like you who have super systemized and organized really helped me personally, like, really flourish. And I can see that, man, 7 weeks with you, a learner who, you know, they just need to be you'll do the engagement, they just need to sort of be there.
Mm-hmm.
And in 7 weeks, that progress will be huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And 6 weeks is what it takes to build a habit.
I
So
got plenty of those.
6 weeks to build a habit, 1 week to review. Yeah, I'm really just trying to turn them into a lifelong learner, lifelong ukulele player. I'm gonna trick them.
Well, yeah, because in that short time, I mean, 7 weeks in a 5 or 7-year-old's eyes, that is like that. And suddenly, if after 7 weeks, they can confidently say, "Oh, I'm a ukulele player," that means I can learn anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I think so. That's the meta lesson, right? That's the meta lesson.
I think so. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's what I look for in 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 classes for learners, and that's what I love about the quality of your class and the quality of the thought process that you're putting into it, is that the meta lesson is there from day one that would carry them over into adulthood and being people with healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And let me stress again, like I really think this one-on-one package is the way to go, because I did teach ongoing beginner group class, and it was good. It was good, but everybody learns at their own pace, and I think I did lose a couple kids who, just holding the uke like this with the neck in one hand and it's not that easy. Some kids get it immediately. Others really need a slower pace. So that's why I moved toward, let me start people out with this one-on-one. And I can get them to the level at the individual pace that they need without them getting discouraged. Because that's the last thing you want, in their formative years. So I have this new model now where I start with one-on-one, and then hopefully they can go on to the group intermediate class after, so that we can keep it positive, and I can help them in any areas they're struggling or frustrated.
I
And I
think
do get frustrated.
that sounds like an excellent idea, because quite often we have one, maybe two shots at their.
What is
Oh my
balloons?
goodness. It's this computer feature that I haven't been able to turn off. So anytime
That's how joyful this class is. Balloons will be flying out of nowhere.
that is true. Anytime you're with Miss Christina, balloons just fly out of the air. It's amazing. Can I get that again? Oh my goodness. I don't even remember what I was saying, but
You were saying you have 1 or 2 chances to implant the positive association?
Thank you. Yes, you said it better than I was going to say it. Yeah, very few chances for that first positive association with a topic, I think, especially as vulnerable as music.
Mhm.
So I really like that idea that you're using your one-on-one class to just make sure that that first experience is going to be a positive one before we put them in a group setting.
Exactly, exactly. And because it is the formative years, that positive association gets in there, it will truly last their whole lives. 6 years old is when you make the most synaptic connections in your brain. So 6 years old is what what happens when you're 6 stays with you, forever. So we want to make sure that that's positive.
So no pressure, parents, but you got to really make sure that that first music educator is amazingly awesome, which is why, pop in to Miss Christina, Ingrid Christina. Thank you, Megan, for being on point, caption master, right there on the bottom. With that, I think that's a perfect way to wrap up our day here, Miss Christina. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you, Megan, for your help in the social team and answering questions that'll come through not only now but also questions after the live. Please send us your questions. Send anything in, and any questions that are specifically ukulele oriented. We will find Miss Christina and drag her back into the thread and back into the community for questions. Is there anything that I haven't said or anything that we haven't shared that you'd like to share as we close shop today?
Well, I'm very grateful. It's amazing to be able to do this work. Um, these classes, mine and all other Outschool classes, truly are a force for good in the world. We need it right now. We need to be uplifted. We need to connect. We need personalized learning. I'm also neurodivergent. I have ADHD and autism, and I have a lot of students also with neurodivergence, and Outschool is an environment where we can really shine. So just grateful to be here, and it's just a joy to be able to do this kind of work.
Well, it's been an absolute joy having you speaking with us, Miss Christina. Thank you so much, and thank you for the joy and that positivity that you bring to our learners in the community.
Can I send you out with my goodbye song?
Yes, please. Can I? I'll leave the screen, and it's just gonna be you. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know
Yes.
what? And there's a question about left-handedness with the uke. I've dealt with it before, but maybe that's something that we can. There are different options, but it's something that we can talk about with left-handedness.
All right. Well, we'll hit that up in the thread.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
Okay.
I'm leaving it here. Miss Christina's closing it out. Thank you for tuning in to Outschool Live. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye to you. Goodbye.